Hello everyone. So now we are on the verge of completion of nomenclature. So today will be the last class and we'll be finishing off finally what all groups are left and some benzene based compounds, how to name them using IUPAC naming. That all we'll be learning today. Okay, so let's very quickly start with naming of haloalkanes. Though haloalkanes we have used throughout when we were doing nomenclature, so I'm expecting that you would already be knowing it, but just to make sure that you do not miss it out or you don't feel like we have not done this group, so I'm just quickly going to brief you about naming of haloalkanes. So haloalkanes are represented by X is a symbol to represent halogens, and what all are the halogens? Chlorine, bromine, iodine, fluorine, all these four elements comes under the halogen group. So we already know. I mean, this we know through the periodic table. So we represent it by X. We do not use them in suffix at all, and we use only prefix, and that is halo. Halo means chloro for chlorine, bromo for bromine, iodo for iodine, and fluoro for, I think I've written the spelling wrong, uh, fluoro for fluorine. Okay, that's how the naming is done. So that means whenever we are going to encounter haloalkanes or whenever we are going to encounter halogens in any of the carbon chain, the name is always going to be prefix. Okay, so let's see the common structure. General formula: Rx is the common structure. Alkane represents the long carbon chain and X represents the halo, so the name becomes haloalkane. For example, first compound I have taken CH3Cl, the carbon chain is made up of one carbon, so the name will be methane, and there is a chlorine here, so it will be chloromethane. Similarly, look at the second compound. We have a chain of 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 carbons. So let's mark this as the main chain. And bromine is present on the third position, so 3-bromopentane. Now comes the cyclopentane, and again chlorine on any position, because this is it doesn't matter. We will always begin the numbering from 1 over here because there is only one substituent. So chlorocyclopentane. So you don't have to mention 1 ideally. Here we have CClFbRI. So basically this is the thing. This is chlorine, fluorine, bromine, and iodine. That's how it is. Okay, so that means only one carbon, so that will be methane, and it has all the hydrogens have got replaced by halogens, and their name will be in the prefix. So name will be according to the alphabetical order, and name will be bromo, chloro, fluoro, iodo, methane. Next is CCl4. It's similar thing. It's like 4 chlorines attached on 1 carbon. So it will be tetra chloromethane. Tetra represents that there are 4 chlorines present. Next is CHCl3. CHCl3 is this structure: CH, chlorine, chlorine, chlorine. And this will be called as tri, because there are 3 chlorines present here, trichloromethane. This compound is also called as chloroform, used in the surgical purposes and other purposes. You must have seen that there are some fainting agents, things they put on the, I mean in the TV and all, that they put it on the handkerchief and then they put it on the nose and the person faints immediately. So basically this is to make the person unconscious for a while. So chloroform is nothing else but CHCl3. Okay, come to the next compound. Next compound is CF2 double bond CF2. So basically it is like this: fluorine, fluorine, double bond, fluorine and fluorine, right? So basically it's an alkene made up of 2 carbons, so it is ethene. I have made a mistake. It is ethene. It is ethene. Okay, and because there are four fluorines present, one is I mean 2 are on first position and 2 are on second position, so name will be 1 comma 1 comma 2 comma 2 tetrafluoroethene. Please correct it, this is ethene. Okay, I think that I have written it by mistake. Let's go to the compound 8th. So we have cyclohexane over here with 6 chlorines, each carbon containing 1 chlorine. So the general formula, or not general formula, so basically if you write molecular formula, it will become C6H6Cl6. We also call it as hexachlorocyclohexane. In short, it is also called as BHC. BHC's full form is benzene hexachloride. Why do we call it benzene hexachloride? Because we prepare this compound hexachlorocycloethane using benzene. So its initial, you can say, reagent is benzene, which basically do some reaction and gets converted into this compound. And that's the reason why we call it as benzene hexachloride, not because this compound is benzene. Okay, so this is a common name, BHC. You'll go to the market, you can ask for BHC, I mean, in specific shops, specific industrial shops, and you get BHC. So this is available in the market with the name of BHC, not with the name of hexachlorocycloethane. It is also called as 6.6.6. And one more name we have for it, and that is called as gamma-hexane. Okay, so this is about, this is a kind of a pesticide. And by the way, let me just pesticides. Yeah. So this is a kind of a pesticide, especially there are isomers. You must have learned in grade 10 that the compounds have different isomers. So the gamma isomer of this compound is a pesticide, and that's why the name is gamma-hexane. And by the way, all the pesticides what you see in the market are nothing else but haloalkanes. So haloalkanes are the major ones which helps us in forming the insecticides and pesticides used in the agriculture industry and so on. So most of your, or you can say almost all of your insecticides and pesticides are nothing else but haloalkanes. This is a very important pesticide. So this, when you talk about benzene hexachloride, this is a narrow range pesticide. Okay, we will not go deeper into it because we don't have to study about BHC's behavior and performance in terms of pesticides. But this is just to tell you that these are the compounds which are used in pesticide. You must know that all the haloalkanes are the pesticides, because when you get some random question like that, find out which of these is used as insecticide or pesticide. It would be always an haloalkane. I'm sure you must have heard of DDT, and DDT is also a type of haloalkane about which we will study in the haloalkanes chapter in much more detail. Okay, let's talk about the next compound. Next compound is naming of nitro compounds. What are nitro compounds? NO2 is the nitro group. Okay, and this is the structure. So this is your nitro compound. We have the prefix for it, no suffix. So again, we will be using the nitro term whenever we will encounter nitro in prefixes. So there is no suffix at all. So the general formula is RNO2, we will call it as nitroalkane, CH3NO2, nitromethane. Here in this case, it is a chain of 3 carbons, no, 4 carbons, 1, 2, 3, and 4. And on the second position, nitro is present, so the name will become 2-nitrobutane. Very simple. Next is I have taken a cyclohexane and I have put a nitro over here, so the compound name will be nitrocyclohexane. So the why I'm just telling you these namings, because these all are prefixes, do not have any special rules, do not have any special cases, so you should know how to use them, and learning them is very easy because you have learned all the complex type of namings also, so it will be very quick for you to understand. Okay, next is naming of nitroso compound. Nitroso is nothing else but NO, can also be written as N double bond O. Again, it doesn't have any suffix and it's a low priority group. All of these, the ones which are in prefix, are low priority groups, and the prefix is nitroso. The common general formula is RNO. We also call it as nitrosoalkane. CH3NO will be nitrosomethane. CH3CH2NO, so two-membered carbon chain, so it will be ethane, and NO will be represented by nitroso. Similarly, I have taken cyclopentane with NO, so the name will become nitrosocyclopentane. So no, here, I mean, I have given you different kind of structures, different kind of compounds to just tell you that the usage is very, very simple. No complicated rules involved. So naming of aromatic compounds are generally benzene-based compounds, though the broader category has many more different type of aromatic compounds, but we will be specifically talking about the benzene and benzene-based compounds. So how can benzene be represented? We can write benzene like this, where we have cyclohexane with a circle in the center, which represents that the double bonds are rotating inside, so they are moving all the time. Or you can represent benzene like this also, so where you have alternate double bonds, or you can write it as C6H6, or you can write it as PH hydrogen. PH is the phenyl group. Phenyl is nothing else but C6H5 and single bond hydrogen. This is also one of the ways to represent the benzene. Or you represent it by Cy with hydrogen. So this is also a representation of C6H5. So C6H5 single bond hydrogen. So either way you can represent them. And whenever your benzene is being used as higher priority group, or the primary chain, in that case the name will be benzene. We will be using the term benzene. But there will be cases where your benzene or you can say C6H5, because see right now its valencies are all complete. So when there will be any group attached to it or any chain attached to the benzene, one hydrogen would have been gone, and then from at that particular place your chain would be or functional group would be present. So ideally it will be C6H5 with one single bond with which it will be attached to something, or it can be represented as benzene with single bond, or PH with single bond, or Phi with single bond. So this is how the compound will be formed using benzene. Okay, so now there are two things. One is benzene being used as a primary chain or suffix, then in that case it will be called as benzene itself, whereas there will be cases where it will be a lower priority group, and then we'll be using it as prefix, and the name will be phenyl. Okay, so when we are using it as prefix, name is phenyl. When we are using it suffix, the name is benzene. Where we will be using it as phenyl, where we will be using it as benzene, we will be learning with the examples directly. So if we have a carbon chain present on the benzene which doesn't have any functional group or any special thing which makes that particular chain a primary chain, or you can say principal chain, in that case benzene will always be your main chain. For example, if you have any R group simple carbon chains attached on the benzene, then your benzene is going to be the main chain, and your R group, that means the carbon chain, is going to be a branch. Okay, so the name will be alkyl benzene. For example, I have taken the first compound as benzene with CH3. So this CH3 will be acting as a branch. The name will be methyl, and then this will be benzene. It has a trivial name, which is an old name but very widely used. Rather than methyl benzene, this is the one which is most commonly used, that is toluene. Okay, next we have is benzene with CH2 CH3. So two-membered carbon chain is there. This two-membered carbon chain will be acting as a branch, and the name will be ethyl benzene. Next, we can take one more example where we have at multiple places the R groups are present. So I have one CH3 present over here, one CH3 present over here. So these two CH3s are present side by side on, let's say if I mark this as position 1, this is position 2. So on two positions 1, 2, you have two methyl groups present. And as I mentioned, R group is going to act as a prefix. So the name will be 1, 2 dimethyl benzene. Okay. Uh, Let me just tell you a little more about these placement of this CH3 at multiple other places, and then I'll talk about the common name and the other terms what we can use for the same compound. Let's see the other variants of the same compound where we have two CH3s on different positions. So in the previous case, we had two CH3s on first and second position. Now, if I change the position of CH3 from second position to third position, then this is how the structure will look like, right? And how will we name it? We will name it as 1, 3 dimethyl benzene. Other way, how can we place the CH3? We can put the CH3 here, and this will be 1, 2, 3, 4. So on the fourth position, the other methyl group is present. So the name of the compound will become 1, 4 dimethyl benzene. So I have three type of structures. One is where both the groups are on first and second. Then other we have when CH3 are on first and third position. And then one more variant I have, that is CH3s are on first and fourth position. So here what I'm trying to explain you is when the positioning is 1, 2, when the placement of functional groups is 1, 2, or any groups, not functional group exactly, but any group is 1, 2, then the position is called as, or 1, 2 system is called as ortho. Okay, similarly, if we have any kind of placement of functional groups or chains or carbon chains or anything on 1, 3 position, then this combination of 1, 3 is called as meta. And similarly, 1, 4 combination is called as para. This is very important. You need to know this and you need to remember this. Okay. So now when I have to name this compound, we named it initially as 1, 2 dimethyl benzene. Instead of this, we could also name it as ortho dimethyl benzene, or simply write O dimethyl benzene. Now, what does it mean? It means that there are two CH3 groups on the ortho position. So ortho means 1, 2 position. Okay, so one is placed on the first position, another is placed on the second position. Similarly, if I have to write the name of this compound, we can also write it as meta dimethylbenzene, and here I can write para dimethylbenzene. And to be honest, we use these meta and para terms more often for the common names. When I'm writing IUPAC name, we prefer using the positions, and when we are writing common names, we try to squeeze it up and then use all other notations, whatever are possible. So, benzene having two CH3 groups on any position, by the way, is called as xylene. So no matter it is on the ortho position or para position or meta position, the compound is called as xylene. Now, how to represent the positioning of CH3s over here? If I'll write orthoxylene, that means two CH3 groups are attached on the first and second position. If I write metaxylene, that means the positions are first and third. And if I write paraxylene, that means the positions are 1 and 4. Okay, so this is xylene is the name where you have two methyl groups on benzene. This is the common name. And let me just tell you one more thing. It's not only about 1 comma 2. In fact, see, if I write the numbers on the benzene chain, the numbers are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Okay, so it's not only 1 comma 3 which is called as meta position. In fact, 1 comma 5 is also meta position. 1 comma 5 is also meta position. What do you mean by 1 comma 5? Basically, the alternate position is called as meta position. And then when you talk about ortho, 1 comma 2 is an ortho position. Exactly same way, this is I'm going clockwise. If I go anti-clockwise, then 1 comma 6 is also ortho position. So if anything is present over here, then also it will be called as ortho position. If something is present here, it will be called as meta position. If something is present on the fourth position, then it will be para. So for meta, we have two type of positions, 1 comma 3 and 1 comma 5. For ortho, we have 1 comma 2 or 1 comma 6, and for para, we have one fixed position, 1 comma 4. So I hope you would have understood that's why metaxylene and paraxylene has been written over here, and in the previous case the name would be orthoxylene. That's all. Now look at the next compound. I hope this would be clear to you. In this compound, now we have a benzene chain with CH double bond CH2 present over here. Now in this case, if the carbon chain or the R group has the double bond, triple bond, or the functional groups present, then that will be acting as a principal carbon chain, and benzene will be acting as a branch. So here I have double bond here. Even though the chain is smaller, double bonds are there in the benzene also, but we don't consider it that way because this is not a simple cyclic chain, but it's an aromatic chain and has certain rules when we write the name. So here the carbon chain has a double bond. Though it's a smaller chain, this will be acting as a main chain, and benzene will be acting as a side chain, or you can say a prefix. So the name will be ethene for this chain, and for the benzene it will be phenyl, so it will be phenyl ethene. It has a common name styrene. Okay, and this is an important compound. We'll be learning about it in the chapters polymers when we'll go to grade 12th. This this is a compound which is used for making the synthetic rubber. Okay, not the natural rubber, synthetic rubber, which we produce in the industrial manufacturing, and that synthetic rubber is also called as Buna S. Now look at the next compound. We have C triple bond CH. Just now I have told you that if you have any double bond, triple bond, or any functional group on the carbon chain which is attached to the benzene, then that carbon chain will be acting as a principal carbon chain, and benzene will be acting as a branch. So this is my main chain. This is ethyne, and it is phenyl. So phenylethyne, or you can also write it as phenylacetylene. This is the name for the compound. Okay, so now I hope you would have got the usage of phenyl. If it's a simple R chain without any double bond, triple bond, then benzene is going to be the main chain. Whereas if it has double bonds, triple bonds, or functional groups, then in that case benzene is going to be prefix. Now you have benzene with COOH. How will we name it? The naming of this compound is exactly same as how carboxylic acids are named with the cyclic chains. So name is cyclic chain name, then carboxylic acid. That's how we name it. Exactly same way we will be naming it over here. So benzene carboxylic acid is the name of this compound. We have another name for this compound, that is benzoic acid, which is more widely used, and it is IUPAC accepted. That means in IUPAC you can write it as benzene carboxylic acid, or you can write it as benzoic acid. Both are IUPAC names. Okay, now let's move to the next few compounds. Now let's talk about the next compound. Next compound what we have is benzene with CH2COH. So now my carbon chain has COOH group present. The open chain has COOH group. So this will be acting as a main chain and this will be acting as a branch. So name will be phenyl ethanoic acid. Next, I have benzene with two COOH groups present here. We will be treating it exactly same way how we had treated the original compound with benzene with COOH. So it will be benzene 1, 2 dicarboxylic acid. And the common name for this compound is phthalic acid. So this phthalic acid is a very important reagent about which we'll be learning again in the higher grade, or you can say in the other chapters what we are going to do. So we will be using this phthalic acid for various purposes for preparation of different other compounds. Next is we have again COOH. Right now here is placed on the ortho position if you see, whereas in this case the positioning of COH is 1, 2 and 3. So positioning is 1, 3. So name of the compound will be benzene 1, 3 dicarboxylic acid, and the common name for this is isophthalic acid. It is called as phthalic acid. pH is silent in the previous case also and in this case also. Next, another case is 1, 4. So benzene 1, 4 dicarboxylic acid will be called. Yeah, so name of this compound is terephthalic acid. Next, now let's understand. We have understood how anhydrides are formed. And here, if I take this compound, phthalic acid over here, and I try to form its anhydride, what we have to do is we have to heat it up. And how exactly the anhydride formation takes place? The two carboxylic acids, one lose hydrogen, another lose OH, and then they combine, and that's how the anhydrides are formed. So when I'll supply heat, it will lose OH from here, hydrogen from here, or other way around. Either way is fine. And then it will combine, and this will form an anhydride, cyclic anhydride. Name of this anhydride will be exactly on the name of the compound, the acid. So acid name was benzene 1, 2 dicarboxylic acid. So name of the anhydride will be benzene 1, 2 dicarboxylic anhydride, or we also call it as phthalic anhydride. Now we have to understand one thing over here. Is it possible to form the anhydride of benzene 1, 3 dicarboxylic acid and benzene 1, 4 dicarboxylic acid? Actually, no. So we cannot form the anhydride out of these compounds. Why? Because we have two carboxylic acid groups over here, but when you'll heat it, they are far apart from each other, and they will lose H and OH. They can lose, but they cannot form the bond because there will be angle strain in the bond. And that's the reason why anhydrides cannot be formed from this compound and this compound, because the COH group are quite far apart and they cannot connect with each other after losing water to form the respective anhydride. So anhydride is possible only in the case of phthalic acid, not in the case of isophthalic acid or terephthalic acid. Okay, so this is about the anhydride formation of these three compounds. So as I mentioned just now, we cannot form anhydrides out of other two acids. So that is the only anhydride which can be formed from dicarboxylic acid of benzene. Now next, let's talk about the next set of compounds and their names for benzene. Benzene based compounds basically. So here we have benzene COOC, COOCO, benzene. So basically anhydride. And how that anhydride would have formed two benzoic acids you would have heated up together. So basically the formation of this anhydride would have happened this way. Basically COOH and other COOH and benzene. They would have heated up together or dehydrated together. One would have lost H and another would have lost OH, and they would have combined, and that's how anhydride would have formed. Now when you talk about this acid, the name of the acid is benzoic acid or benzene carboxylic acid. Benzene carboxylic acid, and that's why the anhydride name is benzene carboxylic anhydride. Similar way, look at this compound. This is also an anhydride. I mean, this whole compound is an anhydride. And how do we know? How do we know how to name it? I have taught you this in acids, that you take this, add water molecule to these anhydrides, and you'll get what is the name of the anhydride. So when we'll add water to it, we will basically split it here. Either way, you can split it from here or here. You can split from here or here, either way. So if I'm splitting from here, OH will go and connect over here, whereas O is already here, so it will get H from the water. And two acids from which it has been formed is benzoic acid and ethanoic acid. So the name will be benzoic ethanoic anhydride. I have written benzene over here. Please correct it. It is benzoic ethanoic anhydride. Okay. Now This is about anhydrides. I hope you have got it how to name anhydrides in the case of benzene also. Next, let's talk about the alcohols of benzene or phenols, to be honest. So benzene has OH group, then it is called as phenol. That's the name of the, that's not, you can say it's an IUPAC name, you can call it as a common name, but that's the single name for the benzene with OH. Okay, so it doesn't have any different other name. We call benzene with OH as phenol. But if there is a carbon chain on benzene and there the OH is present, then the naming changes. Okay. So for example, here, if you look at this compound, I have benzene with CH2OH. So this is going to be my main chain and this is going to be branch. So it will be methanol. This thing will form methanol and this benzene will be represented by phenyl. So actually name will be phenyl methanol. But we have some common names also for such compounds, and this compound is also called as benzyl alcohol. And to be very honest, and to explain you what is the use of benzyl over here, this kind of compound, benzene with CH2 and the single bond, so basically any group can be present over here, this species itself is called as benzyl. So wherever you will find benzene with CH2 attached to a certain group, the common name will have the benzyl term, benzyl or benzene, which I have mentioned over here. So it can be benzyl also, it can be benzyl also, and these terms will be used in the common names. Next, so as I mentioned, this is benzyl alcohol. You have Cl over here, so it will be benzyl chloride. And let's see a few more compounds. So here you have benzene CH2 NH2, so this will be called as benzyl amine. So benzyl is nothing else but the representation of benzene with CH2, and CH2 will be attached to certain functional groups. So you need to remember this. This is important. Now, if I have benzene with CH, where CH is attached to two groups, or if not two groups, basically you have CH and then the carbon is forming double bond with something else, then this particular species is called as benzyl. So you will find the names of the compound beginning with benzyl. If on the carbon there are three bonds attached to certain thing or certain group or another element, then the compound will be termed as benzo. Let's see some examples. So if I have benzene with CH and then two bonds are free, from those two bonds it is connected to oxygen, then this is an aldehyde group on the benzene, and the compound is called as I mentioned, the name will start from benzyl, so it will be benzaldehyde. Okay, similar way, if I have benzene with CH and then it is attached to two chlorine, so it will be CHCl2, it will be called as benzyl chloride, and it is a common name. In common names you will find chloride written as suffix, but these are just common names. We cannot use chloride or any such thing in the suffix in case of IUPAC names. So these are all common names. We don't have IUPAC names for these, and these are the single names for these compounds. Okay, so we don't have two names, one is IUPAC and one is common. These are the names of these compounds. Next, as I mentioned, carbon with three valencies attached to certain one element or three different groups is called as benzo. So for example, if I take benzene, pH is nothing else but benzene. Okay, so if I have to write it little in a squeezed manner, we preferably write pH rather than writing the big benzene. So benzene with C triple bond N, so basically three bonds, it is connected with nitrogen. The compound will be called as benzo. So the compound will start with benzo, and then because C triple bond N is a nitrile group, it will be called as benzonitrile. Exactly same way, benzene with COOH. So basically carbon and connected to three different things, or you can say it is carbon is connected to two oxygens, one through the double bond and one through the single bond, but not like an alkane chain. So all the three bonds are connected to some other element, and this will be called as benzo. See, again, the name of the compound starts with benzo, so it will be called as benzoic acid. We have already spoken about it. Exactly same way, if I have benzene, my bad, huh? And then out of three bonds, two bonds are connected to oxygen, one bond is connected to nitrogen. Such kind of structure, first of all, we'll have benzo as a name, and we know CONH2 is an amide group, so name will be benzoamide. But if you remember, we had spoken about this, the two vowels cannot come together, so benzo's O gets eliminated and we simply write it as benzamide. So that's how the uses of these groups are, and you must know it. This is important. Eh, though whatever we have learned, everything is important, but these are the common names and do not use much of the rules. So unless you know the basics or you know what the basic structure is called, you won't be able to understand the name of the compound. Now, next compound I have taken is benzene with one group as COH, another is OH. Now, here we have two functional groups. One has the higher priority, one is the higher priority group, another is the lower priority group. So, we already know that COH is a higher priority group and OH is lower priority. So, we will number the compound like this 1, comma 2. So, my OH is present on the second position, whereas this whole thing, benzene with COH, is called as benzene 1 carboxylic acid. So we can write it as benzene 1 carboxylic acid, or you can simply write benzene carboxylic acid. You need not to mention 1. And OH is present on the second position, so name will be 2-hydroxy. So 2-hydroxy benzene carboxylic acid. This compound is also called as salicylic acid. Very important compound. We'll be using next year in the carboxylic acid chapter and aldehyde ketones chapter. This is very, very important. Okay. And this name is also very important. Every year in JEE, they ask you one question at least from salicylic acid. So in and around whatever the reactions are there for salicylic acid, or whatever different structures are there with the salicylic acid, structures as in which of, I mean, the question like which of the compounds have COH in it, and then they will just mention salicylic acid. They won't show you the compound structure, they will just give the name, common names, and then you have to know the structure of that common name. Then only you can tell which one has COH in it. So such kind of questions from or around salicylic acid, whatever different reactions are there, the preparation reaction of salicylic acid or conversion of salicylic acid to something else, something will be asked in the JE, because from so many years it is being asked every year. Okay, so this is a very important compound. So as I mentioned, that salicylic acid is 2-hydroxy benzene carboxylic acid. Now the placement of COH and OH can also vary, and the names will also vary. So here if I am placing OH on the third position, the name will be 3-hydroxy benzene carboxylic acid. It can be on the fourth position also, and that will be 4-hydroxy benzene 1 carboxylic acid. The name of all these, and this is not salicylic acid. Salicylic acid is only 2-hydroxy benzene carboxylic acid. Okay, but you get questions from this. So these compounds are pretty important for the competitive exams in terms of their common names, and in terms of their structure, in terms of their names and everything. Now we have another compound what we can have for alcohols is benzene with one OH and another OH. So basically two OH present. Again, the placements can vary. One placement can be 1, 2, another can be 1, 3, another can be 1, 4. So these have their own names and their common names. So the name for this compound is benzene 1, 2 diol. That represent the two OH groups are present, and the common name is catechol. Again, these names are important. Common names are quite important. IUPAC names you will be able to figure out on your own also, because you have learned rules and these follow certain rules, but common names do not follow any rules, and hence you need to remember them. If it is 1, 3, then the name is resorcinol. And if it is 1, 4, the name is hydroquinol. Again, this compound is quite important. This compound is also quite important for the competitive exams. Next is a benzene with OH and CH3. So here benzene with OH and CH3, out of these two groups, which is higher priority group, OH is the higher priority group. So we will take this whole thing as a main chain, and CH3 will be acting as a branch. So this benzene with OH is called as phenol. So phenol is my main chain's name, and now the placement of CH3 will change the name of the compound. So placement is on second carbon, so it will be 2-methyl. Placement is on third carbon, it will be 3-methyl. If placement is on the fourth carbon, it will be 4-methyl, and hence the name will vary. Now when a benzene has OH and CH3 on it, the common name of that compound is cresol. But again, the placement, how the placement is, depending upon that, we will write orthocresol, metacresol, or paracresol. So here your CH3 is on second position, or you can say the positioning is 1, 2, hence the name is orthocresol. Here the positioning is 1, 3, hence the name is metacresol. Here the positioning is 1, 4, hence the name is paracresol. Again, these names are important. If benzene has SH instead of OH, then the name will be benzene thiol. Nothing new about it. We have learned that instead of OH, if you are to use SH, it will be thiol instead of ol. Now, benzene with NH2 will be called as benzene amine or aniline, and aniline is the term which we use most often rather than benzenamine. Hardly you will be able to see benzenamine anywhere. Aniline is something what we'll be using most of the time. Okay, and even in the books, even in your NCRT, everywhere we are referring this compound with aniline only. If NH2 is present on the carbon chain rather than on the benzene, then the benzene will act as a branch and the name will be phenylmethanamine. Simple. I mean, this we have already discussed. And I told you that benzene with CH2 is called as benzyl, so we can also write it as benzylamine. The multiple ways you can name it. And if you want to name it, you preferably use IUPAC naming, but if you get the names, this is the common name, and you must be able to reproduce them to their actual structures. Now here, this is, if you look at the NH2, NH2 is connected to CH2. So this is the carbon chain. And here the nitrogen is connected. That's why this carbon chain is named as methenamine and benzene is acting as a branch. Here, look at another compound. What we have is, we have CH3, we have secondary amine. So nitrogen is attached to the carbon chain also, and nitrogen is attached to the benzene structure also. Okay, when you get such choice, then benzene with NH will be called as aniline, as I mentioned, and CH3 will be acting as a substituent group. Okay, that means on benzene NH is present and then there is a branch over here. If you remember how we used to find out the amines branches, we used to take bigger chain as along with NH, and the smaller chains used to go in the branches writing N alkyl alkanamine. That's how we used to write the name. So here also N-methyl aniline will be the name of compound. Here also my N is connected to benzene as well as CH3, as well as CH3 bigger chain is benzene, hence this will be your main chain, will be named as aniline, and two CH3s are attached on nitrogen, not on benzene, hence the name will be N comma N dimethyl aniline. So this is just the uses of the rules what we have learned in the other functional groups. So basically in amines, whatever we had learned the rules, the same rules we are applying over here. Now look at the next compound. We have benzene with SO3H. So this is benzene sulfonic acid. This will be called as simple benzene sulfonic acid. I told you benzene with CHO is called as benzene carbaldehyde or benzaldehyde. Benzaldehyde is more commonly used name. And that time when I was explaining you the benzyl thing, when I told you benzene with CH, this is benzyl. I told you that there is only one name, that is benzaldehyde. Mind it, why did I say this is only one name? Because this is the most widely used name. You will hardly see anywhere people using benzene carbaldehyde. Okay, this is the common name, is something which is more often used in the case of these, in the case of this compound. Next, if the CHO group, that is aldehyde group, is present on the carbon chain, then carbon chain will be acting as a main chain and benzene will be acting as a branch. So this is CH2CHO. Two-membered carbon chain, it will be ethanol, and benzene will be acting as phenyl. So phenyl ethanol will be name. Or you can also write it as phenyl acetaldehyde. Acetaldehyde is the common name for ethanol. Next, we have benzene with two CHOs. We can also write it as benzene 1, 2 dicarbaldehyde. We have learned the special names of aldehyde, and carbaldehyde is the name is a special name of aldehyde when it is present on the cyclic chain. So we can exactly use the same rule and we can just write the name. Now let's talk about the ketones of benzene. So I have benzene with COCH3. So it's a ketone in the center. So how to name the ketone? We have benzene, then CO, then CH3. So there is a different way of naming over here. We use these two R groups as separately as you can say alkyl, and we write it as methyl phenyl ketone. This is basically the, I think I have done a small mistake over here. Both of these are not the IUPAC names. Both of these are common way of naming. So one name is methylphenyl ketone, another name is acetophenone. Acet, I told you CH3CO group is called as acet. So that's why aceto and then phenone, and one is just representing that there is a ketone over here. So that's just a common way of naming it. Acetophenone is the name. Aceto represents that there is an acid group, and phenone represents that there is a benzene and the ketone group present over there. Similarly, I can write this compound as diphenyl ketone, two benzene chains. Here whenever we are taking the term ketone as the main chain, then in that case all other R groups will be acting as branches and will be named in prefixes. Now come to the acid halides. In acid halides, we have RCOCl. How we used to name it? We used to use OL chloride as the suffix. Okay, but when you talk about the special cases, we used to call them carbonyl chloride because we never used to include their carbons in the main chain. So here also we'll be using the same term, benzene carbonyl chloride, to represent the acid chloride. There is a common name for it, and I told you what is benzo means. This group is benzo. So I have this group present over here. This whole thing will be called as benzo, then benzoyl chloride. OL chloride represents that you are talking about the acid chloride. So this is the common name, benzoyl chloride. Next is if the acid chloride is present on the carbon chain instead of benzene, then this will be acting as a main chain, this will be acting as a branch. So it will be how many carbons? Two. So it will be ethanoyl chloride by using OL chloride as a suffix, and phenyl will be acting as a prefix. Now let's talk about the amide groups. CONH2, if it is directly connected to the benzene, in that case we'll be using the special name of amide, and that is carboxamide. So name will be benzene carboxamide, or we can use a common name, benzamide. I told you how this name comes. This is benzo plus amide, and then we are eliminating O, and then becomes benzamide. Okay. But if the CONH2 group is present on the carbon chain which is connected to the benzene, then that carbon chain will be main chain and benzene will be acting as a branch. For example, look here. I told you RCONH2 is your amide group. This is your primary amide, RCONHR dash. This is your secondary amide, where this R dash will always be acting as a branch. And RC double bond ONNR dash. So basically, these R groups are always going to be acting as a branch, and RCONH. So basically, starting from R going till N is going to be your main chain. So basically, whatever is attached to nitrogen is going to be a branch. Whatever is connected to the carbon is going to be the main chain. So look at this compound very carefully. I have HCONH and benzene. So here benzene is attached to nitrogen, hence it will be acting as a branch, whereas my main chain is this. How many carbons? One. So name is methanamide, and this will be phenyl, so it will be phenyl methanamide. I hope you have got it what I'm trying to tell you. Anything which is present, any R group which is present on nitrogen is going to be a branch. Any R chain, no matter smaller or bigger, attached to the carbon, carbonyl carbon. What do you mean by carbonyl carbon? Carbonyl carbon is C double bond O. This is your carbonyl carbon. So any R group present on the carbonyl carbon will be acting as a main chain. Okay, look at another compound here. We are talking about the esters now. So esters formula is RCOOR dash. I told you how to name the esters. Till this is the main chain. Anything which is connected to O, no matter the bigger chain or the smaller chain, will be acting as a branch, right? So here I have benzene COO. So this is my main chain, and it is going to be branch. We have a special name for COO, that is carboxylate. So we will be using that special name because benzene is a cyclic chain. So benzene carboxylate is the name of benzene COO, whereas ethyl will be acting as a branch. So ethyl benzene carboxylate. We also call it as ethyl benzoate. Here, this is my main chain. This is acting as a branch. So this will be phenyl and this will be benzene carboxylate. So phenyl benzene carboxylate, we also write it as phenyl benzoate. Oate is the suffix which we use for esters. Here, look at it very carefully. CH3COO is going to be my main chain, and benzene is going to be my branch because it is connected to oxygen, right? So I have two carbons here, and it is going to be ethanoate. No special name. Why? Because CO is connected to the normal carbon chain, not a cyclic carbon chain. And this benzene is connected on the oxygen. Hence, it is going to be a branch and it will be named as phenyl ethanoate. Or you can also write it as phenyl acetate. I told you what is the use of acid. What does the acid means? Acid means nothing else but CH3CO group. Next, look at this compound. I have two groups over here. One is COH, another is ester. All of us know that COOH, that is carboxylic acid, is a higher priority group. So I'll number it 1 and 2. So this is my carboxylic, this is my benzoic acid, or you can also say benzene carboxylic acid. This is my main chain, and this is going to be a branch. So let's see the main chain names. It is benzene carboxylic acid. Now, if you remember, I told you how ester is acting as a prefix that we have to check whether my ester group is connected to the carbon, to the principal carbon chain, or oxygen will make a difference. So here my ester group is connected using oxygen to the main chain, and hence for when it is connected to using oxygen, then we use alkanoyl oxy, alkanoyl oxy. This is the prefix what we use, and that's why we have used, how many carbons are there? Two. So it is ethanoyl oxy is the branch name or the prefix name or the ester name. If it would have been connected to carbon, then the name would have been different. Then the name would have been alkoxycarbonyl. So if this compound would have been this way, Let's see. This is then it have been ethoxy carbonyl. This would have been the name, but here name is ethanoyl oxy. Why it is ethanoyl oxy? Because it is connected with the oxygen. Here in this case, it is connected with the carbon. So name will differ depending upon how ester is attached to the principal carbon chain. You have to be very careful while writing the name for such compounds. So name is 2-ethanoyl oxybenzene 1-carboxylic acid in this case. This compound is also called as aspirin. What is aspirin? Aspirin, I hope you would have heard this name before. This is an analgesic. Uh, I hope I'm writing spelling right. And antipyretic. Basically, we use it for pyretic. My bad. The spelling is wrong. Antipyretic. So basically, it is used as a painkiller and for fever, reducing down the body temperature. There we use it. Again, this is a very important compound, and many questions are asked on the basis of this compound. You must know the structure of aspirin, if nothing else. Okay. Next is benzene with C triple bond N. We have already discussed about it that this compound is called as benzonitrile in the common names. And if you have to now name the IUPAC name, then CN's special name is carbonitrile, and we name it as benzene carbonitrile. So now last few more compounds and then we are done with this chapter. I am rushing through the last moment because I feel that you guys know everything by now. So if you find it a little faster, if you struggle somewhere to understand any compound, please ask me in the doubt session. So now here I have benzene with the NC, that is isocyanide group. So we simply take this as a main chain and this is a branch and we name it as phenyl isocyanide, no common name. Next, benzene with X will be called as halobenzene. X means any halogen group. Chlorobenzene, fluorobenzene, iodobenzene, bromobenzene. If NO2 is present on benzene, the compound will be called as nitrobenzene. If NO is present on the benzene, then it will be called as nitrosobenzene. My bad, I have written nitrobenzene here. It is nitrosobenzene. Okay. If any ether is present, then the name can be two ways. It can be alkoxybenzene or it can be phenoxybenzene depending upon how the carbon chains are. So let's say if I have this compound, then this is the smaller R group and oxygen will go along with the smaller R group and it will be written as methoxybenzene. But if my compound is this way, my bad, I have written here phenoxybenzene. Let me just correct this first. This is phenoxyalkane. I think I've done these mistakes because I was in a little hurry to write it so that I can start the recording. So if let's say your alkane is bigger, let's say C7H13 or something like that, then it will be phenoxyheptane. So basically, one straight simple rule, whichever R group is bigger, will be written in the main chain and oxygen will go along with the smaller R group or smaller chain and that will be written in the name as along with the oxy. So methoxy or phenoxy, that all depends upon methoxy or you can say alkoxy or phenoxy, that will depend upon what kind of ether you have taken. Here we are done with most of the namings what are required to know for IUPAC naming. If you will find one or two different things later on when we'll be doing chapter, then we will learn it at that time. But as per my understanding, I have covered mostly everything. So here we are done with the nomenclature. Now you can start solving. You would have started solving the questions from your assignments. Now you can complete your assignments. There is nothing which we have not covered. You must know all the questions by now. Ask your doubts, get it clarified because this is an important chapter not only for the competition exams but for the basic understanding of all other chapters also, because all other chapters are nothing else but these functional groups only, basically the compounds of these functional groups. We have a chapter haloalkane, we have a chapter aldehydes, phenols and aldehydes, ketones, phenols, alcohols, carboxylic acetamides. So these chapters are going to have all of these names, and unless you know how to name a compound or how to identify a compound with its name, then it's going to be really difficult for you to learn anything in those chapters. So this is a very very basic fundamental things, and by now you should be very thorough how to name a compound or how to identify a compound if a name is given. Next, we will be starting general organic chemistry basics, in which we will be talking about different species in which the reaction which are formed in the reaction, what is basically a chemical reaction in organic is, what all different processes are there, how the bonds break, what is the mechanism being followed. A lot of other things we'll be talking about in the general organic chemistry. Before I start the next chapter, you better finish this off very well. And then in the next class, we'll talk about the next chapter, which is very important, uh, very logical also. And again, the most important thing is that that's also a very important fundamental chapter. If you don't understand that, you won't be able to understand the whole organic later on, because a lot of concepts you're going to learn over there. So let's be prepared for that.